Hi everyone, I'm Justin. Today I'm going to be teaching you how patents are an obstacle in cancer immunotherapy. Let's jump right in by discussing what exactly a patent is. Essentially, a patent is a form of intellectual property which gives its owner the sole right to exclude others from using or selling an invention for a maximum of 20 years after discovery. Now that we know exactly what patents are, let's jump into exploring what their effects are on the prospects of cancer immunology. We're going to be taking a look at three primary effects, namely how patents stifle innovation, narrow the scope of research, and create monopolies. Let's get started with number one. As of early 2017, there were 2,229 total patents filed within the field. However, a full 27.6% of those patents are owned by the top 15 pharmaceutical firms ranked by gross value. Yet, just 4% of those patents are co-owned by two or more firms. That statistic highlights the lack of knowledge sharing amongst big players in cancer immunotherapy. And really, why would, say, Amgen or Bristol-Myers Squibb be willing to share their incremental progress when the current system has them set up to race towards getting a product to market as fast as possible? This lack of knowledge sharing is also illustrated by examining the raw number of patents filed in the field of cancer immunotherapy versus the number of scientific papers published on the topic. Specifically, 2018 was the very first year in which the number of patents outpaced the number of papers published, displaying a clear shift from sharing novel discoveries towards protecting past inventions. In essence, instead of all of the world's scientists sharing knowledge regarding such things as failed projects and toxicology, the current patent system has divided them up, creating a massively inefficient machine. And it doesn't need to be this way. In 2001, researchers Gordon Freeman and Arlene Sharp shared 11 PD-1-related patents with multiple corporations for a small fee, leading to an explosion of PD-1 checkpoint inhibitor candidates, from 2 to a jaw-dropping 34. Clearly, we can do better. Now that we have discussed how patents stifle innovation in cancer immunotherapy, we will move on to examining how they narrow the scope of research. To refresh, patents give the owner 20 years of protection for their inventions, encompassing most of research development as well as all of the subsequent clinical trials and the actual selling of the product. Thus, the longer it takes for clinical trials to finish, the less time the owner has to sell the product free from competition. Because of this, minimizing the time a product spends in trial is essential to owners. However, this ultimately incentivizes owners to develop treatments for specific conditions. For instance, since patients with stage 1 cancer live longer than patients with stage 4 cancer, significant survival statistics for treatments targeting stage 1s are measured in years instead of months for those with stage 4s. As such, trials for stage 1s can be a decade or more in length, whereas those for stage 4s are often 1 to 2 years in length. The choice is easy for prospective developers. In the context of cancer immunotherapy, this can be illustrated by comparing a prospective therapeutic cancer vaccine for stage 1 cancer with a checkpoint inhibitor for a stage 4 cancer. Since the vaccine takes 15 years to progress through clinical trials, it leaves only 5 years of patent protection for the owner to sell the product. However, since our theoretical checkpoint inhibitor takes just 3 years to move through the trial stage, developers are much more likely to develop the checkpoint inhibitor instead of the vaccine since it has the potential to bring in much more money. In essence, corporations are incentivized to develop cancer immunotherapies which target late-stage cancers, severely limiting the scope of research. Clearly, this is another barrier. Moving onwards, let's take a look at how patents create monopolies in the field of cancer immunology. Essentially, patents monopolize pharmaceutical corporations like Novartis by providing them the sole right to set their own prices for products without the fear of having to face any serious competition. In any case, what Novartis says goes. However, this can have some disastrous effects, especially if the corporation in question places a high price tag on a new treatment, thereby making it inaccessible to large swaths of the target population. This is beginning to happen much more, and the problem at hand is exacerbated in countries without public health insurance plans. This phenomenon led Eric Budish, an economist at the University of Chicago, to comment on a new CAR T-cell treatment with, "It works if you are a millionaire." On that note, similar problems are occurring in countries with public health insurance, like Canada. Take for instance our old friend Novartis, who, just 3 months ago, released a novel CAR T-cell therapy for patients with relapsed B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia. With no competitors in sight, they set a price tag at a whopping $500,000 per patient. Just weeks later, the Canadian Agency for Drugs and Technology in Health recommended that no province cover the cost of the therapy until the price is cut in half. This has ultimately led to an estimated 900 plus patients having to suffer on with their condition while Novartis and the provinces negotiate on a fair price for the treatment. So far, Novartis has not budged, and they don't need to, because they have patented their product and can sell in other markets if need be. Obviously, this monopolization of the market presents a clear barrier to the prospects of cancer immunotherapy. With all that being said, it's important to talk about what comes next for patients in the context of cancer immunotherapy. All in all, we need a robust patent system because it incentivizes corporations to keep investing in novel immunotherapies for cancer. We just need to get rid of the monopolies, narrow scope of innovation, and knowledge inefficiencies. Because if there's no financial incentive, what point do these businesses have anyway? Possible solutions include changing current patent laws or regulating monopolies. Regardless, something new needs to rise to the surface before cancer immunotherapy can climb the mountain of problems that the current patent system has created for it, before we can confidently classify it as a universal